from what I've heard, the actual programmers on Sly 4 sounds like they did like a good job with the gameplay overall, from what I hear. But oh my goodness gracious, sure. Well, let's add that to the thing. That's a Sly Cooper discussion in a nutshell. There's that. So dang, I wanted to repair all chips. My goodness. But yeah, Phasing Dark Souls 1 playthrough, and now watching my Breath of the Wild playthrough. Breath of the Wild is one of the craziest playthroughs ever done on this channel, because I took like the no, don't back out, because I took like all the speedrun strats of like my 3-day learning session before a charity event that we did, and applied them into a regular playthrough, while also taking the time to learn more glitches along the way. And I'm also really looking forward to Breath of the Wild 2 for that reason, because if it runs off the same engine, and it looks like it does, and they hopefully didn't patch the glitches. I really hope they didn't patch the glitches. The glitches are so good. My goodness, Breath of the Wild is so much fun. I'll despise that game for its music, and I will greatly judge at least its story. But my goodness, I freaking adore that game. Breath of the Wild might be the game that I'm best at out of like any video game out of there. Just in terms of like my raw game knowledge of what I can do. Like, I don't think that there's been any other game that I've taken the time to like learn inside and out. And it was a fascinating playthrough because like I knew more and more the more the playthrough went on. So like a few 100% speedruns of the game, they're crazy, aren't they? The things that are possible in that game there. My goodness, I really hope that you can break Breath of the Wild too. Let's see here. I need to watch up O's reaction to Dark Souls 2's final boss and see his reaction to being a monster. Well, I didn't realize it was the final boss at first. Like, I did the boss and I thought it was a regular boss, actually. Was the thing. So, I beat it, and then the credits started rolling, and I was like, wait, that was it? I beat the game? And then my internet died. And then I started recording. So, and then I beat, like, the true final boss and stuff. So, that was what happened a few days ago, essentially. I guess we'll send one of these, frigates here. My goodness. But yeah, my Breath of the Wild playthrough was interesting, where it's like, when I started the playthrough, I basically just knew how to do, like, you know, a kind of casual speed run, and that was all the glitch knowledge that I had. But as the playthrough went on, and I started, you know, taking the time to, like, really, really learn that game, oh my goodness, that was so much fun. I think that was some of the most fun I've had with a final boss ever on this channel. When we broke Link's rotation and he was firing arrows the wrong way. Oh my goodness, that was hilarious. Dang, I wanted to repair all dock ships. Notorious for being extremely easy. Yeah, I was surprised. Like, it didn't feel like a final boss. Like, I failed the first time and I needed to Google how to deal with the curse, and it was like, take out the wisps, and I was like, oh, okay. So I took out the wisps and then I beat her and I was like, oh, okay, sure. So there was that, I guess. Secret final boss in Dark Souls 2 feels more like the final boss than the final boss. It really did. And I only found out freaking afterwards. I Googled it. I was like, okay, you have to kill Vendrick to unlock the true final boss as well. So I killed Vendrick and I went to the place and there was no true final boss. And I was like, wait, what? And I Googled it. And the answer was, apparently you need to kill Vendrick before like the regular final boss. And I was like, what? How is any normal player supposed to know that? What the heck? So I crossed my fingers that I could use a bonfire aesthetic to make it a new game plus area to respawn the boss, and then it would work. And it did. Thank goodness for that. Like, I was worried I was gonna have to start the entire playthrough over from the beginning again from not knowing that little tidbit, but luckily I didn't need to. Started Dark Deity and got to level 10 with the starting characters in the tutorial level, but battle save didn't work. Oh no, battle save doesn't work for me either. Like, they say that, you know, it's supposed to be like saving in the actual battles. It never worked for me, so I don't know about that. I can ask freaking Mr. Chipman what the status is on that. If there's probably plenty of other people on him. I probably won't bother him with something like that, but him and I have been, the director of that game and I have been talking. It works if you don't close the game. Huh. Well, it didn't work for me. Maybe Chip just freaking despises me secretly, but him and I have been talking a little bit lately about potentially hopping onto a session of Creators Collide together. We still haven't figured out like what game we would want to do if we did that. But one of the things that I proposed was Fire Emblem Fates Conquest Lunatic Classic negative growths. Who can make it like more levels, like who can survive the longest. And I mean, wait, Battle 1, that's with a capital B. I swear it was lowercase b before. And he's told me before that Fire Emblem Fates is probably like his, I don't know if it was in our dedicated session. Like, if it was in, you know, the video that I uploaded of the, you know, interview with the Dark Deity director. I don't think it included the bit. It might have, it might not. But he was telling me that, like, Fire Emblem Fates was probably his favorite Fire Emblem game, gameplay-wise. Most likely. But gameplay-wise being, like, if you take the time to, like, really make fleshed out units and whatnot. So when I proposed that, I think his response was something along the lines of, you'd rather go inside and eat dirt than freaking play Fates in any kind of intended way instead of like cheesing jacked child units was something along his words. That's probably the kind of thing that it's like, probably shouldn't share that. That's like private correspondence, but freaking, it's too funny to me to not share. So there's that. Let's send a brig over that away. Let's see here. Bonfire aesthetics are the best feature in Dark Souls 2, and they should have been Dark Souls 3. So they're not in that. What the heck? Freaking wacky. Yeah, let's go ahead and secure some routes here. So yeah, there's that. Apparently the Switch version of Dark Deity was recently announced, which is interesting. Dark Deity. I was taking my dad in one day for knee injections with the whole awful situation going on with his knees not being the best. I was taking him in for knee injections one day. So I was just waiting in the parking lot while that was going on to, you know, give him a ride home. And on that most recent day that was happening, I tuned into Chip's stream, the director for that game, to see what was going on, like chat a little bit and such. And I saw that like people were joking about how it should just become one of those IPs that just like pumps out lazy sequel after lazy sequel to make quick bucks. And they were coming up with like joke titles for like future things. They were saying like, what if Dark Deity sequels followed the format of like Fast and Furious movies? Apparently there was like some Fast and Furious movie where it was just called Furious. There was like Furious 5 or something like that. I don't know, I don't watch those movies. Some people were joking about how it would be like Dark Deity 2, Dark Deity 3, Deity 5. Like, no longer any dark and maybe skipping the 4. Stuff like that. So, imagine. But yeah, still gonna brag that you celebrate that announcement with the game devs you played Jackbox. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that in the Discord server. That sounds like it was fun. Maybe that's what I should challenge Chip. Nah, freaking Jackbox better with like a bigger group. Because, like, I might well be bringing him on to an episode of Creators Collide. But we need to figure out, like, a game to do, is the thing. We haven't quite decided yet. Like, he seemed like he was pretty open to, like, what I felt comfortable with. Whereas I'm the one trying to be like, no, go with whatever you prefer. Since that's, you know, the idea, whatever you lean towards. But it might wind up becoming that I might be the one making the decision. And if I do, what kind of game would I lean towards? What would I challenge him to? Not Fire Emblem Fates, apparently. Apparently Fire Emblem Fates is off the table. But other things that aren't Fire Emblem Fates. Oh, man. It's funny as that would be to drag him into that. My goodness. More games like the Emblem series, who wouldn't complain. I think it might have been Mortis that was talking about that there was some talk about potentially making some... Maybe doing something kind of like the Project series with the Square Enix has done, where they had like Project Octopath Traveler. That was like, you know, the one art style, like a 2D kind of turn-based RPG kind of situation there. Apparently, I think there might have been some talks about them doing something like that for Dark Deity, where it's like they tried like the same art style and style of game, but, you know, kind of different gameplay things, where it's like with Project Triangle Strategy, that's now like a Fire Emblem game. So it went from like an old school kind of turn-based RPG back and forth where you have a party of 4 to a Fire Emblem kind of thing, moving units around a battlefield in the case of... Dang, these ships aren't fast enough. In the case of you know, the project series of Square Enix. So maybe we would see something like that happen with Dark Deity, where they try like different types of games, but and try, you know, the same art style and stuff, and be under the same name each time. I don't know. Yeah, games in the same universe, but each a different genre. Yeah, something like that. Could well be the case. Let's send that. Still, our favorite Fire Emblem game would be Awakening, but you've only played 3 Houses, Fates, and Awakening. Would you say that there are different aspects that you prefer in each of those games? Because, I have, like... I don't know if I have any Fire Emblem game myself where it's like, this is, like, for sure my favorite Fire Emblem game. Like, everything about this is my favorite. But, favorite story in a Fire Emblem game? It's probably Fire Emblem Echoes, for me. Favorite music in a Fire Emblem game is probably either Fire Emblem Fates or Fire Emblem 3 Houses. My favorite story in it, I already said story. Favorite gameplay in a Fire Emblem game would be Fates. Least favorite story out of the Fire Emblem games I've played is probably Fates. But, yeah, different aspects there. RG is still being patched and stuff, haven't decided on the next project. And I know that it's gonna get, like, updates and stuff that I've heard word about. I haven't followed it, like, as much as some. If I do hop into a freaking Creators Collide session with Chip, I hope he doesn't give me a pop quiz on, like, what's coming up for Dark Deity. I hope you studied for the test. I'll be like, no, Chip, I didn't study. You know, so hopefully that doesn't, he wouldn't do me like that. He's gonna be lurking in one of these streams. Heck, he could even be here right now without saying anything and freaking, you know, just throw me for a loop when the time comes and freaking give me the quick. Why do these barrels explode the moment I stand on them? I don't remember them doing that in the past. But yeah, I love how we started ranting about Sly, and now we're talking about Fire Emblem. Yeah, we're talking about Fire Emblems, talking about Dark Deity, all this fun stuff. And this is honestly a nice kind of distraction for me as well, because one of the kind of reasons that I'm coming and doing late night chilling is because things haven't really been the best for me. For me lately, there's been some serious stuff going on in the family right now, and it's the kind of thing that like most people would probably be taking like a break from streaming for a while, where it's like, okay, let's not be doing content creation for a little while. I just need time to do stuff. But honestly, I'm the kind of person where it's like, streaming gives me it's like therapeutic to me. It gives me a sense of normalcy, and it gives me a sense of comfort. So like, streaming is like one of the best things that I can be doing right now, in all honesty, to get through hard times. So honestly, getting distracted and jumping from subject to subject like this is honestly like one of the best things for me right now. In all honesty. Hello, Kira Kazehi, if I'm saying that correctly. I'm probably butchering that so much, but welcome to the shenanigans here. Hope you're doing well today. I guess we shall get the chest over here. Maybe stab some nerds. Like over-leveling your character and being able to stall forever, so definitely not 3 Houses. And Awakening has, in your opinion, the better story. Yeah, I feel like Awakening, it was on track to being a good story, and it is a good story in like several regards, but imagine how good the story of Fire Emblem Awakening could have been if it wasn't, you know, if its arcs made more sense, like Walhart, you know, actually wanting to stop Grima and not just being like a crazy conqueror, when all it showed him as was a freaking crazy conqueror. And, you know, it feels like it jumps from plot arc to plot arc in a bit of a weird way. Like, if the plot was more flushed out, it could have been so much better as well, you know? You're Brazilian. Nice. Well, welcome. I hear I'm Canadian. Well, who are you? You really don't like me, apparently. Yeah, that was one of the criticisms I had with 3 Houses, where it's like, you know, there's only a limit to grinding, but it's also a massive limit. But like, if you don't grind, then that's a grinding time slot that's gone forever. Like, that part of the calendar is just gone forever. You're never getting that opportunity to grind again. So it makes you want to make full use of like each of the days. But there's also so much grinding. There's so much grinding that you can do, but it's finite. So it makes you feel, because it's finite, it makes you motivated to do it all. But then doing it all makes you take like freaking 5 to 6 hours between story chapters is the thing. So I'm like, I would get so bored if 3 Houses was the thing. And there's one route that I haven't done yet. And I've said before that on my own time, at some point, I might go through like the first half of the game right before the route splits into the route that I haven't done yet. And and then I can just, you know, go through that. I would just do it on like normal casual and go do like the final route that I haven't done yet, just so it's done and I will have covered all 3 houses on the channel. But I would need to actually get around to getting through the first half of the game on normal casual on my own time and then be able to stream it. I've actually been playing a bit of that save file lately, believe it or not. There have been times I've tried to play it in the past, and I've just gotten bored on my mind and I haven't done it. I've been doing some video editing recently, like editing the Dark Souls stream after I recorded the second half instead of streaming because the internet went down. And with, I don't know, with times being a little bit crazy and me not being in, you know, the most normal mindset, I guess you could say that's what got me to freaking Fire Emblem Three Houses. So I've actually been making a little bit of progress in that save file. So that day might come that we do the final route that I haven't done here yet. If I can bring myself to get through like the first half of this normal casual save to the point where the route's split and, you know, the one Black Eagles route that we haven't done yet, since we've already done the first half of the Black Eagles route, and it's just the, because there's 4 routes in that game. You'd think there would be 3. We've done 3 playthroughs, but there's 4, and my goodness. My goodness, let's just see here. I don't understand anything you say. Well, I'm sorry. I used to take some beginner Spanish in high school, but I've lost everything from that. I've lost everything about the language from that. I still remember things about the culture, which is interesting. I got a smudge on my screen. There we go. It's gone now. My goodness. When it comes to design, I'm probably often about making it good enough instead of actually good Sag. Yeah, that's how I've been feeling about some games I've been playing lately. Like, the biggest case of, like, a AAA game that's, you know, supported as it goes on and is, like, a games as a service kind of thing that I've been playing has been Watch Dogs Legion. And I feel like playing that game on the channel over the course of the past year, whenever new stuff comes out, it's just giving me like an overwhelming sense of like meh, you know? Like I really liked the DLC side story of Watch Dogs Legion. That was really good. I had an awesome time with that. But everything else was just like an overwhelming sense of like, you know? Contrary to our expectations, this promoted overseer works against the Brotherhood's interests. Take care of him in public. That should shock the population and bring them back in line. Well, but yeah, ich spreche kein Deutsch. Kein Deutsch spreche ich. Look at the assassination target. My goodness. Let's see here. So I gotta save you. Gotta save you from being assassinated. Oh man, there's some dudos over here. So I guess I stab is what I do. There's only 4 to assassinate this time, apparently. Only 4 of them to take out. So we'll see where they are. But yeah, I've been feeling that with like a lot of AAA games in general. Like Watch Dogs Legion has probably been like the biggest and most recent example. Stab. But I feel like AAA games in general have been playing things safer, because I'm actually debating about doing a video essay on this subject where, whoops, and I talk about it very briefly in the video edit. I'm working on a video essay right now on the use of history in video games. How, like, can video games replace textbooks? Can historical video games replace textbooks, that is? What is their historical accuracy? How do they make arguments? Stuff like that. And one of the things that I bring up, I talk about the portrayals of D-Day as an example. When it comes to, like, the Normandy landings in games like Battlefield or Call of Duty, stuff like that. And in that, one of the points that I bring up is this an accurate portrayal of, like, history? Like, as close of a portrayal as they could have made it? Or is this an accurate portrayal of Saving Private Ryan? Because what I feel like in a lot of popular media in general is we see a lot of popular media copying one another. Whether that be like video games to other video games, some IP to what's just worked in the past for that IP, which is what we see a whole lot of, probably the most. Or IPs copying other stuff in the industry. Like freaking the Valve Steam Deck, for example, copying the Switch as an example, making their own twist on that. And when there's a historical game like freaking Battlefield 5, I think it is the World War II one. I've never played a Battlefield game. I think that's the one. Or Call of Duty World War II, which I only found it was a game that existed when I was doing research for that video. It's important to consider, like, are they trying to make, like, the most historically accurate thing that they can make? Or are they just trying to make an accurate depiction of what people have already seen in other popular media? And that can also be, like, the safer option as well, because, you know, when you see enough of something being depicted a certain way in other popular media, that essentially becomes like the new truth in your mind, which can be unfortunate in some cases, but that's just kind of the way it is. Can I go up, please? Like that can become the new truth in a way. But come on. How do I, what the hell? But even outside of historical video games, we see a lot of the AAA gaming space copy one another a lot of the time. And I have like a very short discussion of this in that video essay that'll be published in probably a few weeks' time. It might even be up by the time this is uploaded to YouTube. How do I get this? There we go, jeez. So, you know, I briefly talk about it in that video essay, but I might potentially, I'll land in the water, right? Yeah. I'm debating about making like a dedicated full video essay on, you know, the AAA gaming space losing innovation. And the reason I haven't made it a video essay yet is because I worry that it might not be a subject I can do like proper justice to. Like I can try, but I'm not sure if it's something I can do proper justice to. But maybe I will try as like the next project here. But yeah, like cowboys are represented in media. That could definitely be a good example of like, you know, this becomes like the new truth of history in people's eyes rather than, you know, whatever was the most historically accurate. Reminds you of a line from the new Destiny 2 expansion trailer. Truth is a funny thing. Does it live in the world or in the mind? And that, yeah, that is in a way the way that history works in a sense. I love Destiny's story. It will mention it when you can. Understandable. I did not mean to climb up here. But yeah, speaking about cowboys, the example that I actually use in my use of history in video games essay is actually Red Dead Redemption, a game that I've never played. I probably will one day. I've heard good things about them. I've uploaded a test version. Like, I have the first draft done of that one video essay. The first draft is at least done. I uploaded it to my YouTube channel to check for copyright claims. Interestingly enough, I actually got copyright claimed for showing the trailer of the first Red Dead Redemption game, but not for me showing the trailer footage of the second Red Dead Redemption game. So I'm gonna have to look at every instance I use the first Red Dead Redemption trailer and replace it with the second, or not the second trailer, the trailers for the second game is what I mean. Because apparently, if you have footage from Red Dead Redemption 1 trailers, you get copyright claimed and demonetized. But if you, what the hell is going on here with these leaves? But if you have footage from Red Dead Redemption 2 trailers for that, you don't get copyright claimed. I don't know why. It's weird. It's very, very strange. Investors are usually risk averse when AAA titles have to stay safe and can't innovate much. Also, people are lazy. That is true, but like projects are also getting riskier. When it comes to Red Dead as an example, the first Red Dead Redemption game, from the research I did for that video, apparently had a development time of like 5 years, I believe it was. This is all off my memory, so I might be getting some of this wrong. Like it'll be more factual in that video essay when it comes out. This is all off the top of my mind, so don't take it all, you know, for sure facts, but off the top of my head, I believe Red Dead Redemption 1 had a development time of 5 years. What the hell is going on with that smoke? Weird. Development time of 5 years, a bit over 800 developers, and a budget of 80 to 100 million. And it made 15 million sales. Red Dead Redemption 2 made over 30 million sales. Like, it made over double the sales of the first Red Dead Redemption game. And on paper, that sounds like it made much more of a profit. But when you take into account that its development time was 8 years, with 8 years over 5 years from the original, its developers was over 1,600, so over 1,600 compared to the just over 800 of the first game. And had a budget of like 570 million compared to the budget of like 800 to 100 million of the original. Like, which one of those games was really more profitable? Like, it could have still been Red Dead 2. Like, I'm no freaking economics expert. I'm not gonna know like which one of those games like truly made them more money in the long run. But like, initially when you hear that like Red Dead 2 sold over twice as well as Red Dead 1, you would think like, oh my goodness, what the hell are you doing on that chest? You would think like, oh my goodness, they made so much more of a profit off of that game. Whereas the truth is that's not really the case. Like, maybe they made a little bit more profit off of it, but not like anything drastic, you know? Like, game studios are incurring so much more of a risk as like games are getting more and more expensive to make. Like, what if, like, stop. Like with Red Dead 2 selling over twice as well as Red Dead 1, maybe it made more profit, maybe it made less. Like, it's pretty close, all things considered. But what if Red Dead 2 sold worse than Red Dead 1 did? Like, it's selling over twice as well. It looks like it's probably gonna be pretty close in terms of which one did better, you know? So if Red Dead 2 had sold worse than Red Dead 1, like, oof. Oof. Like, if that had sold like 14 million, which is already a lot of sales for a game. Comparing that to Red Dead 1, it's like, oh, huh. So there's like a lot more risk being incurred. At least when you have like developers that do actually want to like grow their teams and make bigger, more ambitious projects. If your name isn't Pokemon. But for the, for game projects that are getting like bigger and more ambitious, there's so much more risk being incurred. So you see like a lot of game developers stick with like what they know has proven to sell well, either with their IP in the past, like Pokemon's doing with Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Like, why take risks? Let's just do the same thing that sold well in the past. Or like you are freaking EA games, like freaking FIFA, for example, releasing like the same game every year. Stuff like that. Cases where games are just like rinse and repeat of like the exact same thing that they've already done. They're being like, okay, we could innovate, try something brand new, and who knows, maybe it'll be a massive success. Like Breath of the Wild, for example. Breath of the Wild took a risk trying something vastly new, and it was a massive success. But what if you try something massively new and it's a failure? Like, that's a massive hit. Like, that is an absolutely massive, like, financial hit to you, you know? So because of that, I feel like we're seeing less and less innovation in the AAA gaming space. And I feel like I'm playing more and more games that feel like more and more meh as time goes on. Because they're like, let's not take risk and try to make something really special. Let's just make something that's good enough, or what's proven itself with either our IP or other IPs. And like, we don't see as much innovation anymore. And it's like, it'll eventually come to a crashing point where like, people are okay with it now, but like, how long is this going to last? Until people are like, no more. Like, video games are getting too meh, can't play these new titles anymore. Like, how many years is it gonna take for games to get to that point, I guess, if they get to that point. Hopefully things turn around, but it's strange, and it's, you know, complicated. What's all going on there. But yeah, and Red Dead Redemption 2 was a safer bet than 1, which meant more investors, and it did make a profit. Well, I know it made a profit. I'm talking about, like, did it make, like, how much more of a profit did it make than Red Dead 1? Which one of the two made a greater profit is what I meant. Like, I am absolutely certain that Red Dead 2 made a massive profit. But I'm not sure whether Red Dead 1 or Red Dead 2 made the greater profit, is all I meant. Despite Red Dead 2 having more than double the sales. Which one made them more revenue and such. But yeah, with the new IP, investors usually have no idea if it'll do well, but good IPs almost always make a profit if they don't fail completely. Yeah, like, look at even something like the modern state of Pokemon that'll divide people, and like, it'll put a dent in their sales, sure. But with an IP like Pokemon, no matter what's put out there, you can be assured that it's going to sell insanely well, even if the freaking internet is, you know, having riots and being put into camps of like, oh, either you love the games or you hate the games, and all this crazy stuff that's been going on with modern Pokemon. Like, there's even when stuff like that happens, and, you know, there's all this infighting and, you know, dents are put in sales, it's still known that it'll be vastly profitable, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's that name, so it's going to sell well, you know? Like, that won't change. That won't change no matter how much people on the internet riot and such. But yeah, and hello, Templar. I hope you are doing well today. Another part of why games feel meh would be that gamers have a lot of game styles already. Could be. Could well be. Like, there's not as much room to be trying, like, completely new things, get a taste of something you've never tasted before. Or something like that. Like, it's been recently that I've been tasting the whole Metroidvania genre with 2D Metroids and 3D games with the Dark Souls series. In a sense, that's been, like, my kind of first breath into the Metroidvania kind of space, and being like, oh, I was worried I might not like Metroidvanias, but this is actually kind of cool, you know? But, you know, how many genres are there out there that I haven't properly tried before? I can't really think of any off the top of my head. Apart from, like, I don't know, like dating sims. I've never played one of those. But, I don't know if I ever would. No thing. Actually, wait, no, I take that back. I have played a dating sim. I played it on this channel. I played I Love You, Colonel Sanders. The freaking free-to-play game where you try to woo a young Colonel Sanders. We played that for charity, like, last year? The year before? I don't remember. I take that back. I have played a dating sim. I freaking wooed Colonel Sanders. I take it back. So I've even played that genre technically. But yeah, I guess it wasn't a real dating sim. But yeah, dating sims usually end with 18+ content. Probably best you don't. Yeah. Probably wouldn't be doing that. I played a joke dating sim on this channel though, technically. But I think you played Doki Doki. I've never played that. That'd be one of those games that probably a lot of people would be interested in seeing covered on the channel. But like, one of the reasons why it's so fun to watch creators play that game is because of the surprise and like what their reactions are. I've never played it before, but I know what happens because I've watched other people. So that kind of ruins the whole point there, I guess. It'd just be me playing through and being like, yep, that happens, you know. Like, it's fun to watch different creators play Doki Doki because of the surprise that, like, oh my god, when what happens, happens. But because I wouldn't have that surprise factor, I don't think there'd be any point in me ever covering Doki Doki, you know? So, it's never been covered on the channel, and I don't think it ever will, because the main fun thing about it, of watching creators cover it, the surprise factor, it just wouldn't be there, because I wouldn't be surprised. Because I know it. There we go, we've 100% in New York, I believe. I guess, it's all blue now. Wait, it's not all blue now. What? There must be a final thing that unlocks here after we do some other stuff. It's almost 100%. It's like 99%. Let's see here. First time we witnessed a first-person shooter or third-person RPG like Zelda Wind Waker. You were in awe of those got reboots with a new story, new world, but similar gameplay. New world, but similar gameplay and feel more meh than before. Yeah, I do like how the Zelda series has innovated and tried something new with like Breath of the Wild and coming up with you know, the sequel to Breath of the Wild, which I'm looking forward to. But yeah, never watched Doki Doki, and a friend wants to watch you play it. Don't spoil it. Alrighty. Well, it's one of those things where there is a surprise factor. And that's the main kind of appeal of watching people play or playing it yourself. Is like the, oh my gosh, kind of factor, you know? Maybe I'll go around collecting some things. It has multiple endings? Does it now? I didn't quite realize this. Well, maybe I sort of did, but maybe they weren't too impactful. I don't know. I don't know. My, oh my. Well,